Greetings YouTube, the 9 satanic statements is the one. Satan represents indulgence instead of abstinence. Nothing is to be gained by denying oneself pleasure. Religious calls for abstinence most often come from faiths that view the physical world and its pleasures as spiritually dangerous. Satanism is a world-affirming, not world-denying, religion. However, the encouragement of indulgence does not equate mindless submersion into pleasures. Sometimes refrain leads to heightened enjoyment later, in which case patience and discipline are encouraged. Finally, indulgence requires one to always be in control. If satisfying a desire becomes a compulsion, such as an addiction, then control has been surrendered to the object of desire, which is never encouraged too. Satan represents vital existence instead of spiritual pipe dreams. Reality and existence is sacred, and the truth of that existence is to be honored and sought at all times, never to be sacrificed for a comforting lie or an unverified claim one cannot bother to investigate. 3. Satan represents undefiled wisdom instead of hypocritical self-deceit. True knowledge takes work and strength. It is something one finds, rather than what will be handed you. Doubt everything and avoid dogma. Truth tells of how the world truly is, not of how we would like it to be. Be wary of shallow emotional wants, for they frequently can only be satisfied at the expense of truth. 4. Satan represents kindness to those who deserve it, not love wasted on ingrates. There is nothing in Satanism that encourages wanton cruelty or unkindness. There is nothing productive in that, but it is also unproductive to waste your energy on people who will not appreciate or reciprocate it. Treating others as they treat you will form meaningful and productive bonds, while letting parasites know that you will not waste your time with them. 5. Satan represents vengeance instead of turning the other cheek. Leaving wrongs unpunished merely encourages miscreants to continue preying on both yourself and others, and those who do not stand up for themselves end up being trampled. This is not, however, an encouragement for misbehavior. Becoming a bully in the name of vengeance is not only dishonest, but it also invites others to bring vengeance upon yourself. The same goes for illegal actions of retribution. Break the law, and you become the miscreant that the law should come down on swiftly and harshly. 6. Satan represents responsibility to the responsible. Satan represents responsibility to the responsible instead of concern for psychic vampires. Real leaders are determined by their actions and accomplishments, not their titles, and real power and responsibility should be given to those who can wield it, not to those who simply demand it. 7. Satan represents man as just another animal. Satan represents man as just another animal, sometimes better, more often worse than those that walk on all fours, who, because of his divine spiritual and intellectual development, has become the most vicious animal of all. Elevating the human species as somehow innately superior to other animals is blatant self-deceit. Humanity is driven by the same natural urges that other animals experience. While our intellect has allowed us to accomplish truly great things, which should be appreciated, it can also be credited with incredible and wanton acts of cruelty throughout history. 8. Satan represents all of the so-called sins. Satan represents all of the so-called sins, as they all lead to physical, mental, or emotional gratification. In general, the concept of sin is something that breaks a moral or religious law, and Satanism is strictly against such following of dogma. When a Satanist avoids an action, it is because of concrete reasons, not simply because dogma dictates it or someone has judged it bad. In addition, when a Satanist realizes that he or she has committed an actual wrong, the correct response is to accept it, learn from it, and not do it again, rather than mentally beat himself or herself up for it, or begging for forgiveness. 9. Satan has been the best friend the church has ever had. Satan has been the best friend the church has ever had, as he has kept it in business all these years. This last statement is largely a declaration against dogmatic and fear-based religion. If there were no temptations, if we did not have the natures that we do, if there was nothing to fear, then few people would submit themselves to the rules and abuses that have developed in other religions, specifically Christianity, over the centuries.